Only in the month of January 2024, the total exports of coffee worldwide is 12.62 million bags. In the same month, in the last year, 2023, it's 9.54 million bags. That means a significant jump in the total world exports of coffee. Arabica, the king of coffee beans, saw its exports totaling 76.59 million bags. Robusta beans had quite the boost in exports. What does this mean for coffee lovers worldwide? Well, it's clear that the demand for the morning cup of joy is showing no signs of slowing down. So with millions of bags of coffee beans being traded internationally, it's safe to say that coffee continues to be one of the world's most beloved beverages. So welcome wisdom warriors and coffee lovers. Have you ever wondered if your morning coffee is going to be your hero or a villain? Is coffee safe or not at all? How many times can we drink coffee per day? On the internet, if you see, the information is always unclear. You will get the information on the benefits of the coffee as well as the harms of the coffee too. So the reason for this is, even among the scientists, there's a lot of confusion regarding this issue. And another reason is, coffee has both harmful things if taken higher quantities, for example, like caffeine, as well as good things also. So that makes a lot of confusion. The story of coffee traces back to around 850 AD in North Africa. Long ago, in the mountains of Ethiopia, there lived a goat herder named Kaldi. One day, while his goats were grazing, Kaldi noticed something strange. Whenever they ate the red berries from a certain tree, they become very lively and didn't want to go to sleep at night. So curious about this discovery, Kaldi decided to try the berries himself. To his surprise, he felt energized and awake after eating them. Excited by this newfound energy source, Kaldi told the abbot of the local monastery about the berries. So the abbot, intrigued by this Kaldi's story, decided to make a drink using the berries. When he drank it, he felt alert and focused during the long hours of evening prayer. So he shared this discovery with the other monks, and soon news of the energizing berries spread far and wide. As the story of these magical berries traveled to distant lands, coffee began its journey across the world, becoming one of the most beloved beverages enjoyed by people everywhere. Over time, coffee gained popularity, especially in the Arabic empires, so where it became a favored alternative to alcoholic drinks due to religious restrictions. By the 16th century, coffee had made its way to Europe, becoming a beloved beverage worldwide. So today, coffee is a vital part of many people's lives and is, of course, one of the most traded food products globally. And coffee became the second largest drink after water. Commercially, coffee is cultivated in various regions, so including Hawaii, Jamaica, Ethiopia, Kenya, Brazil, and Vietnam. The process of making coffee involves harvesting mature red berries, removing the outer pulp, and then roasting the green coffee beans to produce the dark brown or black beans we are familiar with. See, the Coffea genus has a lot of species, right? So, but only two species are very popular. So that is Arabica and Robusta. Arabica is very famous. The worldwide, it is used almost 60 to 70% people. While Robusta, accounting for the remaining 40%, has a more robust flavor and higher caffeine content. So let me tell you briefly about the roasting process. So how coffee is roasted. So roasted coffee refers to coffee beans that have been processed through the roasting stage of coffee production. That means during roasting, green coffee beans are heated up at temperatures almost above 250 degrees, which causes numerous chemical changes within the beans. So that gives the complexity of the study regarding the health benefits of the coffee. The roasting process transforms the raw green coffee beans into the familiar brown beans. So the degree of roasting significantly impacts the flavor, aroma, and the color of the coffee beans. Let's talk about some beneficial effects of coffee on some diseases. You might be surprised to learn that several studies have found a consistent link between drinking coffee and a lower risk of many diseases. So let's talk about the Parkinson's. The Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disorder that affects movement, right? So it's caused by the loss of dopamine producing neurons in the brain, which leads to symptoms something like tremors, stiffness, and difficulty with balance and coordination. It's a progressive condition. That means it gets worse over time. And while there is no cure, there are treatments that can help manage the symptoms. So now let's continue to the effects of coffee on Parkinson's disease. So in one big analysis, researchers discovered that the people who drink coffee have a whopping 31% lower risk of Parkinson's compared to those who don't. So, but here is where it gets interesting. The effect seems to vary between men and women. In studies like the Honolulu Heart Study and the Health Professionals Follow-up Study, which actually focused on men, they found out that the more coffee men drank, the lower their risk of Parkinson's. For every 3 extra cups a day, their risk dropped by 49% for Parkinson's. So, however, in studies like the Nurses' Health Study, for example, which included only women, they didn't see the same trend. So now, why this difference? So, well, it might have something to do with hormones. So, but further analysis of the Nurses' Health Study showed that coffee actually lowered Parkinson's risk for women who were not using postmenopausal hormonal therapy. Why might some women use postmenopausal hormones? Well, so postmenopausal hormones therapy is often used to relieve symptoms of menopause. So like hot flashes and vaginal dryness, something like that. We are still not exactly sure why this happens, but some researchers think that it could be related to how estrogen affects caffeine metabolism in the body. So what's the takeaway from all of this? So, well, while it's a pretty cool that coffee might have some protective effects against Parkinson's disease, especially for men, we still need more research to understand exactly how it all works. In summary, so studies suggest that drinking coffee might lower the risk of Parkinson's disease, but we are not entirely sure of how it works. So while coffee might have some benefits, we need more research before making any recommendations. Now let's talk about the coffee and cancer. So scientists have looked at how coffee affects the chances of getting cancer, and here is what they found. Drinking coffee might lower the risk of some cancers, for example, like liver cancer and a type of cancer in the womb. This is called endometrial cancer. So people who drink 3 or more cups of coffee a day seem to have a lower risk of these cancers. But when it comes to breast cancer, it's different. So for older women, coffee doesn't seem to make much of a difference. But for younger women and those with certain genes, drinking more coffee might lower their risk of getting cancer. So drinking coffee might be good for protecting against some cancers, but scientists still need to study more to be sure. Now let's talk about coffee and cardiac health. Studies long back, they have suggested that drinking coffee might increase the risk of heart diseases. But recent studies show it's more about how you brew your coffee. So boiled and unfiltered coffee, like what you might find in some traditional brewing methods, these contain certain compounds called diterpenes. So that can raise cholesterol levels. So but Filtered and instant coffee have much lower amounts of these compounds. Plus, the overall trend is moving away from boiled coffee, right? So, which might be helping reduce the risk of heart diseases. So, especially in women who drink coffee moderately. So, however, not all studies agree. Some have found no link between coffee and heart diseases or heart disease risk, while others suggest there might be negative effects. So, for example, one study found that men who drank a lot of weak American style coffee had double the risk of certain types of stroke. It's not just about the diterpenes. Caffeine itself might also have some negative effects on heart health. But here is where it gets interesting. Decaffeinated coffee seems to have different effects. Some studies suggest it might actually lower the risk of stroke. There is evidence that other compounds in coffee like chlorogenic acids could counteract the negative effects of caffeine and diterpenes on heart health. So the bottom line is, while there is still some debate, moderate coffee consumption is unlikely to harm your heart in the long run. Just remember to brew it wisely and enjoy your cup of joy in moderation. So let's talk about coffee and its effects on diabetes. Based on a big analysis of many studies, there seemed to be a connection between drinking coffee regularly and a lower risk of type 2 diabetes. For example, in a study from the Netherlands, people who drank at least 7 cups of coffee a day had a 50% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who drank 2 cups or less. Right. So similar results were seen in a study of Swedish women who drank 3 cups of coffee a day. And 2 large studies in United States, one with men and one with women, found that those who drank at least 6 cups of coffee a day had a significant lower risk of type 2 diabetes compared to those who didn't drink coffee, right? So, and this protective effect was seen whether the coffee was caffeinated or decaffeinated. So, another big analysis of many studies found that for every extra cup of coffee people drank each day, their risk of diabetes went down about 7%. However, not all studies agree again. So, some have not found a clear link between coffee and diabetes at all. While coffee might have some benefits for preventing type 2 diabetes, we still need to learn more about how it works. It's a bit early to say that coffee can definitely prevent type 2 diabetes, but it's definitely an interesting area of research. Okay, now let's talk about the very interesting stuff, antioxidants. What about antioxidants in the coffee? So several studies have looked into how drinking coffee affects the antioxidant activity in our body. When people drank coffee instead of water, their plasma showed a significant increase in antioxidant power. So one thing, this doesn't mean that coffee can replace water. This also doesn't mean that coffee itself is packed with antioxidants. No, but rather that certain compounds in coffee might help boost our body's natural defense against damage, oxidative damage caused by harmful molecules. So for example, after drinking coffee daily for a couple of weeks, researchers found increased levels of glutathione, which is very important antioxidant. Similar results were seen after people drank 5 cups of coffee every day for a week. So another study found that drinking unfiltered coffee led to slight increase in the activity of an enzyme called GST, glutathione S transferase. This is also very important, potent antioxidant enzyme which stays in our body, which helps protect cells from oxidative damage. So, however, more research is still needed to fully understand how coffee affects our antioxidant systems and how it might impact our health in long run. Let's briefly talk about all the important ingredients present in the coffee. all right, let's break it down, the science behind coffee melanoidins. This is very important if you want to know about the fiber content of coffee and great food for your gut bacteria. Coffee contains something called melanoidins, so which are produced during roasting process. So now, these melanoidins are not exactly dietary fibers we get it in our vegetables, right, and fruits, but they act like fibers in our body. Think of it like this. For example, when you eat your vegetables, the fiber helps keep your gut healthy, right? So, well, melanoidins from coffee might also do something similar. So, they can help our bodies fight off bad stuff like harmful bacteria, and they might even help prevent diseases like cavities and gum problems. Let's talk about diterpenes. This is very interesting. You know, when you take a sip of coffee and it's a kind of bitter, that's because of these guys. So these are called diterpenes. So they can help your body to fight against oxidative stress. Even though these diterpenes might make your coffee taste a bit bitter, they could also be like little champs in your body, so helping keep you healthy and cool, right? So let's talk about other chemical compounds that present in the coffee. Trigonelline is like a special ingredient in your coffee. It's found in green coffee beans, and when those beans get roasted, trigonelline turns into other helpful stuff like nicotinic acid. So it can help keep your blood sugar levels in check. Yes, protect your brain cells, and even fight off bad bacteria. So there's even some evidence that it might help protect against certain types of cancer. So now let's discuss about the most well-known ingredient of the coffee, that is caffeine. It's what makes your morning cup of coffee give you that extra boost of energy, that is caffeine. But did you know that caffeine is found in other things also, like tea and chocolate? Caffeine is like a tiny molecule that's really good at getting into your body. Yeah, it goes into your body very fast. So once you drink your coffee, the caffeine is everywhere in your body tissues. Within just an hour, your body has absorbed most of the caffeine that you drank, and it can stick around for up to 5 hours in your body. So now, here is where it gets interesting. Caffeine blocks something called adenosine. You should know about adenosine. Adenosine is a natural compound that your body produces throughout the day as your brain and body uses energy. So it's like a little messenger that tells your body when it's time to slow down and rest. So when adenosine levels in your brain goes up, it signals to your body that you are getting tired and you need a rest. You need to sleep. So the structure of caffeine is also looks similar to adenosine. So when you drink coffee or consume caffeine in any form, it hops into your bloodstream and makes it a way to your brain. So once it reaches your brain, so caffeine starts to work its magic by latching into adenosine receptors. So it blocks the adenosine work. So but there is the twist. Instead of telling your body to slow down like adenosine does, caffeine blocks those receptors, adenosine receptors, and stops adenosine from doing its own job. So essentially, caffeine tricks your brain into thinking it's not tired. So when you drink that cup of coffee in the morning, so the caffeine swoops in and blocks the sleepy signals that adenosine still sends in the morning, so leaving you feeling more awake and alert. So that's the reason why caffeine is often referred to as a stimulant. So it revs up your brain and keeps you feeling energized. But like all superheroes, caffeine has its weaknesses also. Too much caffeine can make your heart race, give you a headache, and make it hard to sleep. And for some people, even a little bit of caffeine can make them feel jittery and anxious. Plus, if you are pregnant or have certain health conditions, you might need to be extra careful with caffeine. because it can affect your body's growth and even cause some serious problems if you have too much. So while caffeine can be your friend when you need a little pick me up, it's important to use it wisely and not overdo it. Now let's talk about chlorogenic acids. So these are the natural compounds that offer health benefits. Recent research suggests that CGAs or chlorogenic acids, they still play important roles in our bodies by activating genes that protect against diseases like cancer and preventing blood clotting, internal blood clotting, so which can reduce the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Ultimately, what scientists say is that studies on a ton of people suggest moderate coffee drinking, around 3 to 5 cups, might be linked to a healthier heart. But wait a minute, they also say that super heavy coffee drinking, that means above 6 cups a day, might not be bad, but then whether this is a benefit or a bad differs from person to person. So that means the overall message is like in an average, the moderate drinking doesn't harm you. When it comes to heavy drinking, it depends on the person to person. So because some people are built different. Some people have inside caffeine shield because no matter how much coffee they drink, they don't feel jittery. But for some people, even a little bit of coffee or caffeine can make them anxious, right? So they process coffee differently. So the bottom line, enjoy your moderate coffee habit. These studies should not be a reason to ditch your morning coffee. So, but if you're a coffee heavy drinker, maybe slow down a bit. If that afternoon espresso makes your heart to race, switch to tea. Always chat with your doctor before making big changes, especially if you have health concerns. But for most of the people, the cup of coffee in the morning is fantastic. Now go forth and caffeinate yourself responsibly. If you find this content valuable, hit that like button and subscribe to the Wisdom Vibes and put your experiences with coffee in the comment section. Let me tell you some interesting terms to know in the coffee world. So barista is like a coffee artist who knows a lot about coffee. They make and serve drinks to customers, especially espresso based ones. But in Italy, a barista serves all kinds of drinks. But in English speaking countries, it's mainly espresso based drinks. So baristas are also experts in making a latte art, where they create designs in the form of cappuccino. They need to know about different coffee blends, roasting, operating espresso machines, frothing milk, and more. You can learn these skills in barista courses. So next thing, espresso, a concentrated coffee brewed by forcing hot water through finely grounded coffee beans. Café Americano, espresso diluted with hot water, resulting in a similar strength to drip coffee but a different flavor of profile. Cappuccino, a coffee drink consisting of espresso, steamed milk, and a layer of frothed milk foam on top of it. So latte, similar to a cappuccino but with a higher proportion of steamed milk, to espresso topped with a thin layer of milk foam. Macchiato, an espresso stained with a small amount of frothed milk, resulting in a strong coffee flavor with a hint of creaminess. Affogato, this is a dessert made by pouring a shot of hot espresso over a scoop of vanilla ice cream or gelato. And then cold brew, coffee brewed with cold water over an extended period, typically 12 to 24 hours, resulting in a smooth, less acidic flavor. Pour over, a manual brewing method where hot water is poured over coffee grounds in a filter, allowing for precise control over extraction. French press, a brewing device where coarsely grounded coffee is steeped in hot water before being pressed through a metal filter. So Fairtrade, a certification ensuring that coffee farmers receive fair prices for their beans and adhere to social, economic, and environmental standards. Specialty coffee, high quality coffee beans grown under specific conditions, often with unique flavors and characteristics, carefully roasted and prepared to highlight their quality. Third wave coffee, a movement focusing on the artisanal craft of coffee, emphasizing quality sourcing, roasting, and brewing techniques. So, who consumes the most? As of recent statistics, the country that consumes the most coffee per capita is Finland. So, Finns are known for their love of coffee, with an average annual consumption of around 12 kilograms per person. Other countries with high coffee consumption include Norway, Iceland, Denmark, and Sweden. However, in terms of total coffee consumption, the United States ranks among the top countries due to its large population. That's all about coffee for today. Sign off.